Asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O Mother, take us from unreal to real, from ignorance and darkness to wisdom and light. Take us from death to immortality. Peace, peace, peace. You must have seen that we always start our prayers with a salutation to the Divine Mother. I would like you all to remember what we had discussed on the last week of the beautiful Isha Upanishad, the Shanti Mantra. This is also a Shanti Mantra. The other one is a Shanti Mantra, Purnamada Purnamidam. We are going to talk about it a little more to bring in more and more clarity of a most powerful that Shanti Mantra. And it brings in the essence of the entire Advaita Vedanta. Now what is happening is today, the most important unquestioned idea about our reality in the mind of all of us is the main reason of the suffering and uncertainty and doubts and the source of all unhappiness is happening in our mind. Now what is happening is, the conclusion of Advaita Vedanta is we, you and I, are not aware of who we really are. And the moment you and I put with our mind a name and a body and a form, man, woman, gender, and a function, appointment, action, and status, we limit ourselves, and we not only limit ourselves, source upon all our unhappiness is we separate ourselves from the others. The moment I say this is me, that means you are not me, I am not you. And this is what Advaita Vedanta is saying is the essence of all unhappiness in the absolute unquestioned idea about our reality. What is our reality? Not known. Ignorance. Beokufi ka matra hai is what they say in Himalaya. So now what do we think? We think we are this little body made of some 5 elements, that earth, air, water, you know the Panchatattras, and these tiny particles has made this body, and this is who we are, and we have a bundle of thoughts, and we were this very profound state of mind and function, and this is who we are. So this unquestioned idea in our mind, we know who we are, and we think we are very small, and we are limited with what? Aging, sickness, disease, financial problem, and relationship problem, and millions of businesses going slow, my world is not great, it will take some time, and COVID-19 is we are limiting, and we become vulnerable to this whole universe. And apparently this universe is a huge, massive world of objects, our material world, and uncaring material world, uncaring material world, as if this world is not bothered about what happens to me, and I am going to die and go away very soon and be doomed, but this world will continue, and more people will come like me, and again and again. This is the thing, it makes us very weak, subject to all sorts of illness, accidents, diseases, disappointment, suffering, unhappiness, and is the main source of unhappiness. But the reason what Advaita Vedanta is telling us, it is nothing else that we are not aware of who we really are. We are not this body, and the thousands of years ago, our ancient rishis had gone ahead through the Upanishads. Remember, Vedanta Nama Upanishad Pramana. The Upanishad is the essence of the Vedanta. Vedanta is Upanishads, and primarily out of 108, 11 of them, 10 plus maybe 1, Shvetashvara Upanishad is the one, and this is what Shankaracharya identified these 10 Upanishads and Brahma Sutra and Bhagavad Gita. They are the three essence items through which the Vedanta takes birth. Vedanta tells us this is not so. And the ancient seers of the rishis, in trying to search for the reason for the suffering, they came to the conclusion, imagine thousands of years ago, mind and consciousness. Same. The hard problem of the consciousness is this, that they are not realizing that consciousness itself is powering the mind. And mind is not consciousness. We think in the Western world today. And consciousness is powering the mind. The mind is powering the brain. And the brain is powering the five senses. And five senses goes out and senses go out and bring the world through the once again apparatuses of the eye, ear, etc. to the brain, and tiny particles of electricity, brain sends it to the mind. So you see a rose is not entering my eye, that will be emergency. You have to call 101. Now, rose, a light falls on it, creates an image in the cornea, which in turn goes to the mind, and somehow that Western world has not been able to discover till now. How does the mind know it is a rose? And this is what is the hard problem of the consciousness, with the way consciousness powering the mind, brain, etc. And how do we recognize and bring back all this world? And progressively from here, we are getting onto our problem is the first person experience of this world. I'm driving a car, Google car is also driving next to me. You will see it very often now all over the world and in California, etc. Quite often, a traffic light, a Google car is standing, you're also there, no driver. That car may be being driven much better, but you have a beautiful first person experience of driving that car and having cool breeze of Californian seashore drive around the ocean and open air sea breeze. You are having hair flying and enjoying that scene. But the Google car has no such first person experience. Now, this suffering, this sickness, this insecurity, sources of all unhappiness, is what is now Vedanta and Advaita Vedanta has gone ahead and discovered that to do, how do we understand and remove this main issue of the suffering. So the ancient religions and the modern religion, it is their main drive to find out reasons and the ways to take us out from suffering. Let's say the main, most importantly going around on all religion primarily is theistic religion, is love for God, in which God is up there, love for God, and in that you and I are loving the God and experiencing and going ahead, that expecting God who is very powerful lives up in the heaven, we are over here, or the God is in the temple or a mosque or a church, or like Gurudwara and things like that in temples. But God is separate, I am separate. Advaita Vedanta goes ahead and gives us through philosophy and through very simple Advaita Vedanta, like in theistic religion, bhakti oriented religion, does not tell us you have to believe in this. Advaita Vedanta says through reason and logic, you need to question it and experience what? How do you start? Advaita Vedanta is nothing else but telling us that start answering, finding out, questioning who we really are. And we are basically very simple, have three existence: waking, dream sleep, deep sleep, three existence. And there is a fourth one. So if you look at it, this is the waking time. Consciousness powering the mind and the brain, and you can hear, see, touch. If I'm unconscious, if I'm in coma, I can't see anything. Apply it now. If I'm in dream, sleep, I'm dreaming. I'm in sleep, in dreaming. So waking state and dream state, there is duality. Very two. In waking, I'm separate, you all are separate. This world is separate. Mountain, lake, ocean, desert is separate than me. In dream sleep also is duality, exists. But Advaita is not two. Not two, only one. Advaita is one. And in the deep sleep, apparently there is no duality. Because you're in deep sleep. No thoughts, no mind, no name, no form. You don't even know anything. But you do. So as per Vedanta, Vedanta says, yes, you do have duality. It is in a seed form. When you wake up, you're back again to the reality, and you also realize what? I had a wonderful, beautiful sleep. So that is the duality. But other than these three, what Advaita Vedanta is, realize who we are through what? The fourth stage called Turia. Turia means fourth. Is what? Same consciousness. Powering light. And we are that light. That light which is untouched, unaffected. We are not covered up. The other way of experiencing, removing this suffering is through the Patanjali's Yoga Sutra way, is going through meditation, samadhi. In samadhi, you also go beyond the mind. In the other, bhakti, also you go beyond the mind. You give your mind to God and say, God, you're the one who take care of me. You are the doer. I am the dasabhav. I am the servant. You're the master. Remember, Hanumanji answered beautifully when Rama asked, what do you think of me? Who's Rama? Rama is consciousness, Atman, Brahman. And Hanumanji is like you and me. Hanumanji answers, Deha buddhiya dasoham. When I look at myself and think of me that I am the body, I am your servant. Jiva buddhiya. When I think of myself as a sentient being, name, form, body, function, like you and me right now, then I am your part. Tadam sakha. Atma buddhya, when I know myself to be consciousness as the spirit, then Tvameva aham, you and I are not separate. This is what the Vedanta is trying to tell us, that look, once you realize this, then you are away from that main concern of the problem, that the universe is big, separate, uncaring, detached, and not bothered about me, and I am this little body and the mind, and this body and the mind is open to sickness, disease, death, suffering, financial problem, and I'm separate, I'm all alone, I have to look after myself. No, that is where the mistake is. Three basic questions of the philosophy in the world today. So, the first big question is, what is real? What is real? Reality. And that is the metaphysics answers the question in the Western world. The second question is that how do we know anything at all? How do we know anything? And this is epistemology. How do we know? And which is in IB is called theory of knowledge. With that, how do we understand and know anything? And the fourth one is going ahead and saying, what is the point of it all? Look back into what is the point of it all. Axiology in the modern terms answers that question. That is, generally earlier used to be called ethics and self-esteem and things like that, which is now formed into one called axiology. Kena Upanishad, thousands of years ago, goes ahead and asks this question. So, disciple is asking teacher, what is it that makes me see, hear, touch, taste, smell, do things, think things, love things, hate things? What is that one thing? And this is the answer which Kena Upanishad is dealing with, the heart problem of the consciousness. And naturally the answer is, as you will know, well-traveled in the Advaita, it's the consciousness. And how do we know anything at all? Vedanta goes ahead and says, answers it very simple. It's called Sat Chit Ananda. So, what was the first Western science physics question? What is real? Sat is the consciousness, is the real. Vedanta answered it thousands of years ago. And how do we know anything at all? It is the consciousness which is powering the senses, and before the senses, the brain, before the brain, the mind. Consciousness powers the mind, mind powers the brain powers the senses, which in turn bring the world into me for me to know anything at all. If I'm not conscious, look carefully. You cannot learn anything, you can play, you cannot have fun, you cannot eat anything, you cannot do anything at all. If I'm in coma, the world is vanished for me, isn't it? So, in other words, Tat Tvam Asi, you are that. That Sat Chit Ananda is telling Tat Tvam Asi. Sat is existence, truth. Chit is the consciousness. It's the consciousness alone is powering what we know anything at all. And what is real? Sat. How do we know anything at all? Is Sat and Chit, consciousness and existence. And Ananda is the last, which is the axiology, which is what is the meaning of it all. It's the Ananda, it's the joy and the happiness. Have you noticed? Great enlightened masters are always happy and joyful. So you are Sat, you are Chit, and you are that Ananda bliss. This is what is the journey that you and I have to do it. But we don't see it that way. We don't think it that way. We don't understand ourselves to be that. We think, why? Because we limited ourselves, isolated ourselves from this so-called uncaring world. Is not uncaring. It is just waiting to be known. So remember now, connected with the which we started, I told you, and chant this mantra. Learn it. Very simple to learn. Purnamada Purnamidam. Purnam is whole, complete. Purnam Ada. That is Purna. Meaning that, let's say, is God, is Purnam. Brahman is Purnam. Complete. Complete. Purnam Midam. This universe, yours and my world, you and me, are also Purnam. We are same Purnam. Purnamada Purnamidam. Purnat Purnamudachyate. The Purna comes from Purna. See, very simple. If you take away something from something, I take away some water from this glass. The glass becomes less water and that water goes somewhere else. So it reduces. But Purnat Purnamudachyate means Purna comes and gives this Purna and it remains the same. So the whole sutra goes Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya, meaning when you know it through bhakti, raja, kriya, jnana yoga. When you know it, Purnasya Purnamadaya, that I know. Purnam comes from Purnam and Purnam alone remains. Purnam doesn't become less. Then Purnam alone stays with you. Purna Vasishtate. It stays with you. What does it mean? That is Purnam. This is Purnam. You and I are Purnam. And I am from that and I are not separate. How can I be weak? How can I be only limited to this mind, body, name and form and function? That is the ignorance. Beokufi ka matra hai sirf. And this is what I would like you to get it to the understanding it, that Advaita's purpose is to shift our paradigm, the way you look at our world. And this paradigm will be shifted, and you and I can beautifully get into this world of oneness, not duality, but oneness. One alone exists, Advaitam, is by shifting the paradigm. Paradigm is the way I look at the world. And how do we do it? What are the ways? There are various ways. Come on Sunday, we're going to discuss those ways. But basically, it is very simple that paradigm shift can only happen when you start off with ethical manifestation. Start right now. We've been sharing again and again that the moment you get onto the world of spirituality, Advaita Vedanta, this is called very simple. Ethical manifestation. Establish ethics. Meaning, even in a joke, I shall not tell lies. I will be kind and caring to everyone. I will not find fault with anyone. If there is fault in someone I find, no, it is my I which is at fault, not that person. Even your enemy, look at the strength of them. Jesus Christ is saying, if you want peace, my child, if you want peace, my child, let others' will be done. It does not mean you and I become doormat and let them do whatever they want. No, it doesn't mean that. You hold on to your paradigm, but purity and ethics, nobody will dare come and touch you and torture you with your mind, with the words or whatever. I want you to leave with one more thing, with the thought that it struck me so much. You know, you and I live our life with suffering, sickness, disease. You know why? Because we are all the time, with our thoughts and with our words, we are planting seeds. What are those seeds? Scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Advaita Vedanta, Bible, Quran, all say, what you speak, what you think is what is going to happen to you. So if you want to know and build a great future, talk, dream good things. If you plant apple seed, you will be getting good apples. Yes, you have to take care of the apple tree growing up. But if you plant wild berry seed, you will not get apples. Wild berries are those negative. My health is like that. I'm growing old. Nobody cares me. Nobody loves for me. What is going to happen? What about financial security? Market is down. On the other hand, say, I'm the best mom. I'm the best father. I am the chosen one. The divine selection of the God has brought it to this world, into my company, into my family, for me to change the world without ego, selflessly helping everyone, not finding fault with anyone, without going for mystical experience, like, magical something happening. We will talk about it. Before I close today, I wanted to tell you a very simple joke. Since I talked about Jesus Christ, there is one pastor. This pastor trained his horse. And the horse was nice, big, strong horse. And he trained the horse that when you say, they say in Christianity, hallelujah. And the moment you say hallelujah, the horse will stop. And the moment say, may God bless you. And the moment you say, God bless you, horse will run. And the horse was trained well. One day, the pastor got into the horse, and I don't know, something happened to the horse. Oh, gee, straight towards the ravine, toward the cliff. And it would have died from there and killed both of them, pastor and the horse. And the pastor panicking and calling all kind of name. Nothing is happening. Nothing is stopping the horse. Suddenly, he remembered, hallelujah! As he said, horse came to a screeching halt just before the crevice to fall down. And the pastor said, thank God for heaven. Rest of it for you to think.